All right, conversations with the universe. So here, Jeffrey Epstein's been back onto the top of the news here the last several months because both political parties in the U.S. are wanting 100% disclosure and transparency about the Epstein files. So as of November 19th, 2025, the Epstein Files Transparency Act was signed into law, and obviously they've already released 33,000 documents so far. Um, but the biggest takeaway is when it comes to declassifying something and anything that goes to the public eye, there's always a little sentence that's really important to pay attention to. Redactions are allowed to protect victims and or ongoing investigations. Well, that's pretty paramount when it comes to protecting names, social security numbers, birthdays. It's called a PII, protecting from personal identifiable information. And also, ongoing cases have to be redacted, obviously. And anything that's detrimental to national security, which could be a myriad of things. The biggest issue people have now, while the DOJ's doing their redactions and all that good stuff, is an official ongoing investigation going to be a headline to start up. And then when that happens, that slows the wheels to releasing the files. So the investigation has to be finished, and obviously everything has to be come through again, and then stuff gets released. So this could be years by the time this goes down. But what does Unit 731 above me and Project MK Ultra have to do with this? When it comes to history, a lot of things are not spoken of unless you deep dive and you go beyond your high school and college level education. And with the Epstein thing, conspiracy is always thrown around, just like Unit 731 would seem like a conspiracy, and so would MK Ultra. I would like to say, instead of using the word conspiracy, I would say undisclosed information. And undisclosing information is pretty important because, obviously we waited, since 1963 to have all the Kennedy documents and never came out at all. We're still waiting, so they're slow wheels for a reason. But in a nutshell, MK Ultra was a real CIA behavioral modification mind control experiment from the 1950s to the 1970s. It was at the end of World War II, and at the start of the Red Scare and the Cold War that had America scared of Russia, China, and North Korea. And the things that were found in Nazi Germany after the war, and the experiments that they were conducting with LSD, etc., was what inspired the CIA to start MK Ultra. LSD experiments were one of the things that happened with that. Hypnosis, sensory deprivation, safe houses with unsuspecting victims. And in 1973, it was eventually shut down because of ethics issues, which is a huge problem. And then Unit 731 was Japan's version of Auschwitz with what the Nazis were doing. So they did some horrific experiments there. And at the same time, the U.S. and the Allies were finding these horrific experiments being conducted in Nazi Germany. The same thing was happening in Japan in Unit 731. But those two subjects there are for another video and another time. But the connection between these three things is things get delayed for a reason. There's a lot of information out there that is delayed for a reason, to protect people, to protect countries, and to sometimes, there's some things that you will never find out, because by the time they do an investigation on this again, on Epstein, this can take years and years and years. So far, there's 33,000 documents that have been released. Let's see what we can find out from that. And other than that, hope for the best.